What's up, everybody? It's your boy J Ross. I got a special guest on my channel, the wonderful, the amazingly talented and gifted Ambie Gonzalez. Woo! Long time no see, because the last time I saw you in person was almost like 3 years ago. It's been a minute.
It was in Atlanta, right? Did we go
Mhm.
to Dominican Club?
Yeah, we did, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. But yeah, guys, for those who don't know who she is, this is Ambie Gonzalez, and she is a YouTuber. She has many titles under her belt. I can't even keep up. Okay, she's a flight attendant, a mother, businesswoman, entrepreneur. You're in school right now, right?
I am,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you're in school. So like you're doing so many different things. But her name is Ambie Gonzalez. I'm gonna put all her contact information down below in the description box so you can go find her channel. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people know who you are, who are subscribed to my channel because I got a lot of subscribers who are fellow language learners, so they probably already know you. But for the people who don't know, this is Ambie Gonzalez, and something that a lot of people don't know is that this woman right here is the reason why I have a YouTube channel to this day. I don't think I don't think I've ever really told you that, but you are like the person that inspired me to do pretty much all the stuff. Like I guess like the trajectory of everything I've done on my YouTube channel is been based from your videos. So you really helped me with my Spanish journey, being an expat, living abroad, getting bilingual jobs, and I really do appreciate all the content that you provided over the years. It's very useful, very valuable, but I mean, I remember I was watching you back in high school before I could even say "Hola, cómo estás?" So I've been watching for a long time. And speaking of the meetups, I know you did the what was it called, like the meet and greet, and that
I
day
did.
right, yeah. So that day right there actually kind of changed my life. I know you probably thinking like it was just a little meetup, but for me, that was like the day when I was like, all right, I'm about to be a traveler. I'm about to do this YouTube thing. Like I finally got to meet you, and I was really excited and nervous because I was like, oh snap, like this is Ambie. My palms are sweating. I felt like I was gonna meet a superstar. Yeah, so I was like, and that's probably why, like, when I was there, I wasn't saying a lot because I was just kind of like, oh wow, like,
You
I
were,
finally
you were shy. I remember.
yeah, I was, and people don't know that. People think on YouTube I'm really outgoing. I am outgoing, but I got to get used to the people I'm around. But when I was there, and then the other thing, Nibby was there, so I
Maybe.
didn't even know she was gonna be there. So I'm like, oh snap, like two birds in one stone, So that kind of was a surprise to me. But I actually met her, or I found her through your channel. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I think it was the video y'all were in Ecuador or whatever. But basically, at that meet and greet, that was when I first found out about the Dominican Republic. Like I didn't even know anything about Dominican culture, and people don't understand that. Like I think it was somebody in the group that was Dominican. They suggested us to go to the restaurant, so we went to the
That
Dominican. Yeah, it was a Dominican guy in our group, and we ate at the restaurant. That was my first time ever eating Dominican food. And then later, when we went to the disco bar, I remember that was like my first time hearing bachata, merengue, dembo, like all of that. That was like all in one night for real. And so then I think it was from that day I decided that I was gonna go to the Dominican Republic. I was just gonna pack up everything and go. And that's when I messaged Nibby, and I thought she was gonna say no. I was a little nervous when I sent her the email. I was like, "You think I can stay with you?" And I was like, I'll clean, I'll cook, I'll do whatever." And she was like, "Yeah, just come on down." And so that's how I ended up coming into the DR. So from that meet and greet, you pretty much kind of set the bar for my channel and everything I've done. So I really do appreciate that.
Oh my God, you're welcome. You're actually, that makes me feel so happy that I can inspire anybody.
Yeah, for
Actually.
real. Like I'm telling you, and the thing is, you weren't even when I first found your channel, it wasn't like you were a big YouTube channel. I don't even really like big YouTubers. But I remember this was before you don't blew up now. You a superstar now with your YouTube channel. But I remember like when I first found your channel, I was like, who is this person, from the United States, and she learned all these languages. And I thought that was cool because where I grew up, it wasn't any black people that was learning Spanish. That was kind of weird. And I was
Mhm.
listening to reggaeton, in the neighborhood, and it was like, why is he listening to Daddy Yankee? Like people they used
Yeah.
to kind of look at me So when I was watching your videos, I was like, well, I can kind of relate to her. So that's gonna open me up with my first question. Sorry for the long introduction, but it was well needed. She probably like, I've never seen an introduction like this. Yeah, my first question is, what inspired you to learn Spanish, and what around like what age did you feel like, okay, I want to learn Spanish?
Well, I'll tell you this. So I always tell this to everybody. My second language I started learning was actually Korean when I was 10. I was 10 and I took Taekwondo, and I actually was learning Korean from my Song which was my teacher. And he pretty much made me want to learn Korean. So once I stopped Taekwondo, it's like, who else speaks Korean? I
Mhm.
couldn't find nobody else to speak Korean. So when I got to high school, I figured I would just take Spanish because we had to take a certain amount of years of a foreign language.
Mhm.
So yeah, I took it in high school, and it was mandatory. I wasn't too good at it at first, but once I started realizing, like, oh, this could really benefit me in the future, then I started taking it serious.
And so you pretty much did it for ninth grade through like when you graduated, right?
I did, yep. And
Okay.
so my senior year, I took it as an elective, just because I
Okay.
actually chose to take Spanish. You know what's funny? When I was in 11th grade, I think that's when I got my first car. I started skipping school. This is so bad. But I skipped school and I would go to this town called Mexican Town in Detroit, Michigan. And it's actually not the safest. Southwest Detroit is not the safest place to be. But when I saw on the highway it said Southwest, I mean it said Mexican Town, I was like, okay, I could practice my Spanish. So I would skip school, go there, and I would practice talking with the cooks and everybody that didn't know English. So yeah, and that was like in 11th grade. And I think that's when I realized, like, okay, I can really speak this language. And I just took it from there. My first job was as a medical interpreter.
Yeah, and by the way, for the people who don't know, you speak 5 languages right now, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
learning my
man, I can't keep up. Like every time I come on your channel, be another language. I'm like, how many languages does she know? Okay, but that's cool. So you speak Spanish, English, Portuguese, Korean, Mandarin, and then aren't you learning? Is it German?
yes, I'm learning German
And
now.
you're learning German. All right. How many do you have an idea of where you want to stop, or do you just kind of just pick up languages as you go? Like, what is your whole thought process through that?
You know what? I did give myself a limit before. I stopped at Portuguese, but then I'm like, well, I love Korean. So I stopped at Korean. Then I had met my ex fiance, and I'm like, okay, Mandarin, that's it.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It's almost like I've developed this love for languages now where
Yeah.
I just want to see, okay, let's try out German. Let's see what Russian sounds like.
Hmm.
Let me just try some Thai.
Yeah.
So, um,
It's almost an addiction because it's like once you get into one, you kind of just want to go, especially with the romance. Because I've been studying Portuguese too. So because the ones I know right now, by the way, Korean as well. I don't think you knew about that, but yeah,
what?
yeah. So the strongest is Korean and Spanish, and then Portuguese is the one that I'm learning, and then I also did Chinese in the university too. I think I told you about that. I don't remember if I did, but yeah. So I was taking Chinese in the universe. So I'm a little the same way too, just kind of dibbling, dabbling into different languages. Cause like, yeah, like you said, you just kind of want to see, okay, like how does this feel? Or like how does this work? And sometimes it doesn't turn out to be what you wanted. Like I know there's some languages I just wasn't feeling at all completely. Like French, I'm never gonna learn French. Like, nah, like, I'm
I
good.
was just thinking that in my head. I wasn't gonna say it, but okay, since you said it, French. Oh my God, I was so hyped about learning French because I was going to Paris. Oh my God, I went to Paris and I was totally turned off. I'm like, oh no, I'm not learning French.
Mhm.
But
It's
and it's the language itself. It's not to bash the language, right?
fun.
I think it's a beautiful language, but I don't know. I guess I just don't feel connected to it. I don't really have a reason to learn French.
Yeah, I definitely feel like if you're gonna learn a language, knowing why you want to learn the language is very important because it's kind of hard to learn something and not be into the culture or want to know, like, you got to have a reason. That's why I tell a lot of my subscribers who are dedicated, because it is a lifestyle change. Like, you really have to dedicate yourself to, and I'm pretty sure you know that. So, yeah, so I just want to get into like Portuguese. So you ended up learning Portuguese after Spanish, right? And how was
Yes,
that
I
experience with you?
well, I studied Portuguese for 3 months in Atlanta International Language Institute.
Oh, I've been there.
So you've been there. Okay, do you
Yeah.
know Lincoln G. Oliveira?
Hmm.
Lincoln, oh my God, yeah,
Yeah.
that was my teacher.
Mm.
Yeah, he was actually my teacher. So he has his own language school.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so he's anyway, so I studied with him. And by the way, just to throw it in there, he actually trained actors and actresses from the movie Fast Five. Remember when they
Oh
did it in
wow,
Brazil?
yeah.
Yeah, he
That's so
trained them
dope.
that. So, yeah, so anyway, so I studied for 3 months at his school here in Atlanta. And then I got my advanced certificate because I finished the course. And from there I just kept practicing. I would say I was conversing in like 6 months.
That's pretty fast, because, and I think too, because you knew Spanish, that kind of helped you train. Because with me, with my experience learning Portuguese, and I think you was talking about this on your live the other day, because the words are so similar, it's so easy to just jump from. I almost mix up the languages, like when I'm speaking sometimes, like, and that's why I tell people it's good to learn them one at a time because they're so similar. But that's really cool. So then you started Korean when you were younger, but then you wanted to hop back to Korean. And then so how was that whole process of Korean?
I know with so I stopped when I was like maybe a few years after when I was 10. And then I didn't get back into Korean until I want to say, well, this is what happened. During high school, the only time I could say anything in Korean was when I would go to the beauty supply store.
Mhm.
Like that was it, because they dominate that all over the states,
Yeah.
at least in Michigan. And so I would go there and I would just be like, "안녕하세요." And I remember doing that, and I remember the guy just being like, I don't know what made me do it. I'm like, I'm just gonna see if he understands.
Yeah.
Because mind you, I was 10 when I was learning. So, you don't know any better. And I was 10, I think I was saying like, oh, I'm speaking Chinese. I thought I was speaking Chinese because I didn't know any better. So I just tried it with this guy. I'm like, 안녕하세요. And he's just like, wow, you know Korean language. And I'm like, just a little bit chogum. And just seeing his reaction made me say, okay, I'm gonna learn Korean. And so I got into Korean dramas
Hmm.
from one of my friends here in Atlanta. She's Korean. And I went to her house and she was watching some soap opera. And I remember just saying, like, what are you watching? Like,
Hmm.
and she was like, sit down, let's watch this Korean drama. And so let me tell you, 12 episodes later, watching this K drama, and I was just so obsessed. I'm like, what is the name of this? Where do I find these at? And I want to say this probably was back in 2013, back in 2013. And yeah, from then I said, okay, I'm going to learn Korean. And I want to say a few years later, I got on italki and I got a tutor
I love
and
italki.
on Verbally.
I love italki. That's a really good resource. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I found out italki from your channel. But guys, if you're really trying to learn a language and have like a tutor or somebody to practice with, italki is a very, very affordable way to do that. Because a lot of Spanish tutors or just any language tutors, they charge like these high prices, and people can afford that. But I really like italki because you can go to a professional or you can go to just a regular person like you and me, and you can have
Yeah.
somebody to practice to. So I'll leave the link down to that below in the description box. But
They live in their country a lot of the times.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's another thing. It's native speakers from those countries, and so that I mean, I really think that's key. Like the easiest way to learn a language is just talking. But I kind of wanted to shift gears a little bit into with your entrepreneur life. So this is a chance for you to kind of share with the people about what you do online and your businesses, because I do support Black businesses and I want people to be able to know about all of the things that you have to offer out here. So you can just kind of share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Right now I run ambiemethod.com. So I just sell my language learning scripts on there. If you're a doctor, a nurse, or a police officer, I have scripts available on my website. It's like a script, like phrases that you would use at work. So, also, I do tutor via Skype and Facebook and Zoom. Um, and yeah, I have some books on Amazon.com, also on AmbieMethod.com. So it's just language learning books there. And I'm missing something. Okay, so on my website, I also have a section where you can get language courses. So, like, I have a 5 week beginner Mandarin course. I have a 3 month self study,
I
and
purchased that one, the 3 month self study.
yeah, so the 3 month self study. Oops, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
The 3 month self study is actually, it includes 30 videos, and I'm pretty much teaching you how to learn a language. I'm not teaching you a specific language, but more so how to study, how to practice, what to do, what to look up. Yeah, how to learn a language. And then I also have a 22 pre-recorded Spanish video lessons on my website. I have a 5 week Portuguese beginner Portuguese course that I just launched. So yeah, ambiemethod.com. You guys can go there. It's like
I
all this
love,
language I
man.
got
I mean, she really is legit. Like I'm telling you, the resources that you have. I mean, it's something to me. I feel like out of all the different language courses I done looked at in grammar books or whatever, I mean, really coming to your channel is like the encyclopedia for how to learn a language. I mean, you really can learn anything about when to learn languages on your channel. So I definitely think you guys should check her out for real.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
All right, so the next question I wanted to get into is about oh, and there was one more thing you did do, but you no longer do that. But I guess I was gonna get into my next question. You be moving to Puerto Rico because you were doing like a business program out there, but we can get into that with this. So
Okay.
you moved out to Puerto Rico, and how long were you out in Puerto Rico?
I was there for a little over 2 years.
Okay, so what kind of put you in the mindset to Puerto Rico? And you went at a special time because that was right after the big hurricane. So when I saw that she moved to Puerto Rico, I was like, oh wow, surprise. So like what was your whole thought process with that moving out there?
You know what? So what got me to go to Puerto Rico was I actually was prepping to move to Colombia. So a
Mm,
lot of people don't know that, but I had went out to Colombia like 3 times, I believe, twice, and I blogged it. But then the third time I didn't blog, and I was actually going out there to sign my lease for a
okay.
condo in Bogota, Colombia, and it was actually right by the army base.
Mhm.
And I even looked into the schools for my daughters, and um, what ended up happening is I got back home. I had a dream about Puerto Rico. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and I go searching on YouTube like Puerto Rico after Maria just to check out, only because I was trying to see what would be the easiest transition before I just up and go to Colombia, right? And for my daughters. If I didn't have children, it's another story.
Yeah.
But because my daughters were coming with me, I'm like, let me just check out Puerto Rico just in case. And so on YouTube, I found this YouTuber. Her name was Yadira, but she ended up passing away.
Yeah, I saw
Um, yeah, so I ended up connecting with her. And thanks to her, that's how I was able to transition out there. She literally hooked me up with the website to find apartments and everything. So I went out there. Actually, me and my girls flew out there first. And I looked for a school in the neighborhood that I wanted to move to. And
hmm
so I registered them. I also got like all the, what is it, the prerequisites that I needed for them to come.
hmm
So yeah, I did that, and I mean, we made all this happen within like a month.
Wow,
It was like
that's amazing.
so quick.
That
I
is
was so ready to leave the states. Like, I need to get out of here.
but so you get out to Puerto Rico, and that was the next thing you were doing, like your was it life on island? Okay, I think that's how you say it.
Yes, I
Island,
did.
right?
I had my study abroad program. I had a business partner out in Dominican Republic. We're still business partners. I am transitioning to sell the business actually.
hmm
Um, so I'm not doing it anymore,
hmm
but it was a study abroad program. So students will book on my website and they can either go to Mexico, Brazil, Dominican Republic, or Puerto Rico. Everybody booked Dominican Republic. Everybody booked there. So I had a few people come out, maybe like 8 or 10 students came to Puerto Rico and they stayed with me. But the rest, like, they all wanted to go to Dominican Republic,
I don't
so
know
they
what
stayed
it
with their
is.
family.
The DR is just, it's I mean, you've been there multiple times, and it's just, I don't know, it's a different atmosphere because I have been to Puerto Rico too. And
Yeah.
I'm a little bit biased. I still pick the DR over Puerto Rico, but even though Puerto Rico is nice, but it's just a different type of vibe. I think just like, I don't know if this is politically correct, but it just felt more foreign over there. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it just, in the Puerto Rico, it still kind of felt like I was in the States a little bit in certain parts. But
Where was that when you were in
well, I
Puerto
was
Rico?
in San Juan, so I mean, I was right
Yeah,
in the, so you know,
I
I
didn't.
didn't really,
I stayed in Cagua, so
yeah,
that's like
you was
in
in
a.
another part. So to me, it was like, I think I should like go back. I still do want to vlog out there though, because I think it is a very nice place. But yeah, I think the DR just won me over.
Well, we have to plan. We can go. We can go there
Definitely.
together, Puerto Rico.
For sure. Like, I really want to do some more content because I'm getting kind of like DR'd out. I think I got so much content on the DR. I want to try out some other places. So definitely Puerto Rico, I want to go back out there. But so what, I guess, for the people who want to become an expat or who want to travel abroad and they want to live abroad, what would you say is the biggest advice you'll give to somebody who has it in their mind? They're like, look, I want to move out the country, because you know a lot of people have limitations and fears and things that are holding them back. So what would you say is the biggest advice or the best piece of advice for somebody who's thinking about becoming an expat?
You know what? Because a lot of my friends live abroad, I can definitely say this: you have to do it. You just have to do it. One thing that I did was, even when I was planning to move to Colombia and I ended up switching to Puerto Rico, nobody knew about it. Only Nibby. Like, she was the only person, my best friend. She's the only one that knew. My mom eventually, but I didn't tell family, I didn't tell other friends, because I did not want anybody to detour me from what it is that I wanted to do. The only people that knew about it was people that were already doing it. So, like, Nibby already lived in Dominican Republic, so it would be easy for me to tell her my aspirations to move abroad. You know what I mean? So my suggestion is, if you guys want to live somewhere else, or even just travel to like Colombia because you've never left the States before, definitely consult with people that's already done what you want to do. Don't tell people that have never even left Detroit, Michigan, or people that's never left Atlanta, Georgia.
Mhm.
Don't talk to them about your plans, because they don't know any better, because they've never done any better. If that makes sense.
And it's so easy to like discourage you, like, why are you going?
Mhm.
Because I mean, still to this day, I got people in my own family that are like, why is he going out to another country? Like, he just graduated, you know, and you hear the little comments and stuff. But I definitely do agree that if you are kind of like not a weak-minded person, but if you can get easily influenced by other people's words, that definitely can have a negative effect on you. So I definitely agree with that. That's some really, really good advice to kind of keep it private, or just, you know, just like announce it when it happens, and then, you know, they can sit from, and usually what happens, I notice, is that once you start doing something, that's when they kind of have a change of heart for it. And they're like, okay, like, I'll support him now, which is, it's crazy,
Yeah.
but it's always
Oh my
like
God.
that.
That sucks. You know how bad that is.
Yeah.
Like, I never want my children to grow up and think that they can't tell me anything, because they're like, oh, mom is going to be negative, you know.
Mhm.
My mother isn't like that. Thankfully, she's always been so supportive, but
That's good.
I can't say that for the rest of my family. It's
Mhm.
just not there. So, it's
Yeah.
like the support come later on, like, oh, nice, she's doing that. But it's like, when I want to do it right then and there, it's like all this negativity.
Mhm.
So you guys can't tell people. I don't care if it's your sister. You cannot
Like,
tell
I
them.
mean, it gets like that too. Like, your closest family members, I mean, it is like that. It's unfortunate because, you know, you want them to support you, but I
Yeah,
definitely do agree that you should just wait till it happens, or talk to people who are already doing what you're doing. Definitely. So
unless you're a mom.
Yeah, unless you're a minor, of course. Yeah, if you living with your parents and stuff, you know, respect the rules, and then once you get grown, do what you want to do. But
Right. Yeah.
so now I kind of want to shift gears to careers. So you still a flight attendant, right?
I am. I'm on maternity leave right
Yeah,
now.
'cause you
So,
just had a baby. Yeah. How has that been, you know, with a brand new baby, and how have the girls reacted to
oh God, they're excited. Yeah, they're real excited. They were excited since the test said positive.
it?
Actually, no, they found out when we went to this clinic. I was trying to keep it on the hush hush because I'm thinking, oh, they don't understand fluent Spanish.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. So we get in there and I take the test and I wait like I think it was 15 or 20 minutes. I go back inside the place and the lady, the enfermera, she came out and she was like, "Oh, vas a tener bebé." And my daughters, they're like, "Mommy's having a baby." And I'm like, "Oh my God, they understand."
Yeah,
But they were happy. They're still happy.
that's good. So you joined the flight attendant lifestyle. Like how long? Like when did you start that?
In 2016,
Okay.
January 2016, I became a flight attendant.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's been that long. That's crazy. That time it went by fast.
God.
And so
Yeah.
did you come on as a bilingual employee, or how did that whole thing go for you?
I didn't. So how that happened was I was working at a law firm
Hmm.
and I was working there as a Spanish interpreter. So at this law firm, I was dealing with a little bit of depression at the time too. Not so much of any situation. It was more so I hated Michigan. That's where I was at. I just hated living in Detroit, Michigan so bad, So I would even at this good job, I wasn't happy. So I was at my job and I was searching on the computer how to travel for free. This is crazy. And so I saw teach English abroad. I saw become a flight attendant. And I'm like, So I just applied to become a flight attendant. The next day, I got an email because they got my resume, and I'm sure it's because I'm bilingual. They
Yeah.
contacted me back right away. And they scheduled me for an interview, I want to say a month out. And so what I did was I ended up quitting my job before I even had the job as
Yeah.
a flight attendant.
Wow.
I quit my job and I'm like, you know what? I'm done with it. I didn't give no notice or nothing. I said, I'm out of here. Y'all don't pay me enough to be speaking Spanish anyway. And so I left that job. And I just have faith. And I think, okay, let me back up. I had created a vision board about maybe that earlier that year. And mind you, I didn't know I was going to become a flight attendant. I just knew on my vision board, I want to travel to South Korea. That was like my goal, my go-to pay. So now fast forward. So I ended up going to the interview. I was the first person that they hired out of everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a process of elimination. I don't know if you've ever seen a flight attendant interview, how it looks.
Mhm.
It's an 8-hour process. It's a process of elimination. Like the whole group go in, they do a presentation, and then they have you stand up, introduce yourself. Then, boom, they eliminate people. Next phase, they ask other questions. Boom, they eliminate people.
Wow.
Then they actually do what they call a seatbelt test, make sure you're not too big. So then they'll eliminate you. They do a one-on-one interview at the process and they'll eliminate you. Out of each one, I was the first person they kept calling each time, like the person that passed through the thing. So I'm like, I'm getting closer and closer. So yeah.
And then you had to do like a training, right?
Oh yeah, it was about a 4-week training. Yeah,
So,
I did.
man, and I mean, I've seen videos of the process, and it's really, I mean, it's pretty thorough, like the stuff that you have to learn, and the you have to take tests or whatever, man. Like I mean, I commend the people who get through that, because I mean, it's a lot. So I'm happy that you was able to finally accomplish that, and that was cool because it kind of already went with what you were doing with, you know, your love for travel, and you got to use your languages while you got to do it. So that's pretty awesome. So
Thank you.
when it came to like the other bilingual jobs, like let's say in the law firm, and by the way, I just about a month ago I started my interpreting job at a hospital. So Yeah, and
What?
once again, thanks to Ambie Gonzalez, she kind of her videos. I'm telling you, y'all gotta go check out her channel. Like people ask me all the time. I actually reference people to your channel, when people tell me. But yeah. So with getting jobs in the bilingual world, I guess one of the things that people ask is when do they know if they're good enough to do it? Because that is something that will happen, when you're trying to I guess like for me, I remember when I first started out getting bilingual jobs, I was kind of like, I don't know if my Spanish is good enough. So wait, what did you say?
No, I'm
Oh, okay.
sorry. I was
Oh,
yelling
okay.
at
I
my.
thought you said something. So yeah, I was just like, what? Okay, what is your advice for people who feel like they know Spanish, but they're not exactly sure if it's enough to get the job?
Um, so my advice is, here's the thing. Depending on whatever job it is you want to do, you always have to focus on the subject of that job. So, like for example, you're at a hospital, so I'm sure you probably study day in and day out
Yep.
all the medical terminology, all the possible scenarios that can come up at that job. You want to be on top of that. If you're someone that's trying to work in a police station as with a bilingual title, you need to make sure you know um, legal Spanish, right? Or legal Portuguese, whatever language it is. Make sure you role play, you practice with your teacher or tutor. You want to be prepared so that when you go to that interview, it's nothing they can say that's going to
That's
trip you up
gonna
and
screw up.
make you. That's what you have. That's the secret, guys. I'm telling you, that is the secret. So that's what I recommend. Now, if you've only been speaking Spanish for about 3 months, even only 6 months, I wouldn't say it's time to get a bilingual job. I say give it a year and a half, maybe 2 years, you're ready. But that's consistent practice, right? I'm not saying you practice for 2 months, then you don't talk for six, then you
Yeah,
practice for two.
gotta be
No, you need to
consistent with it.
keep practicing. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree about learning the vocabulary because like working in a hospital, I didn't realize like how much Spanish I was going to learn because like the other day the doctor said epidemiology and thankfully I already knew that things ended with ology is kind of like logia.
Yeah.
So I kind of was able to put two and two together. So when I was doing the interpreting, I was like, okay, epidemiologia, and that's how I was able, it wasn't able to trip me up. But definitely I do think like being in or learning the language that's surrounding that job, I think that's another thing that can kind of encourage people who might feel like if they Spanish is not good enough or whatever, just long as you can do enough. Long as you
Sorry, can you hear her?
no, but I saw your face.
Okay.
No, I couldn't hear it at all. Oh, so when you go into your interview, a lot of times I guess people don't understand the difference between wanting somebody and needing somebody. Because that, to me, I think that's really important. Like when they say, I want a Spanish speaker versus we need somebody to speak Spanish, plays a huge difference in terms of price. So I can kind of let you share about it because I mean, you have way more experience than me than that, but just kind of share with other people about that.
Yeah, you're spot on. You have to know the difference with if you see a job post and they say want bilingual Spanish speaker, that just means they want you. They prefer it. They don't necessarily need it, so they're not going to pay you for it.
Hmm.
Um, Now, if they say need bilingual speaker needed, usually you're able to negotiate your pay. So, I mean, if they're paying everybody else in the office $13 an hour and they're saying they need a bilingual speaker and they're saying the pay for you is going to be $13 an hour, that can't happen because you're needed. Your services are needed. You're an asset. So usually you can negotiate your pay. So,
That's very
and
good.
usually they do pay you more than everybody else if your services are needed.
Yeah, because like with my situation, I'm working for the pandemic right now. So they urgently need a Spanish speaker because a lot of people in the Latin community, they don't understand the news and like what's going on. So I have to explain to them, the whole process with the C virus. I don't want to say the word because YouTube. But yeah, I have to like educate them and tell them about it. And so definitely it does play a huge difference. But I guess for people who are starting out, maybe they can take the position that is just where they want you because it's just good practice. But definitely once you start getting into it, I definitely think you should know your worth, get that money. Because I mean,
Definitely.
bilingual jobs, you can pretty much get a job. If you can speak another language, you can easily get a job. Like that's one
Yes.
thing I never have to really worry about is not being employed, because I know somewhere they need, especially in Georgia, like I mean, it's tons of Hispanics.
Yeah.
So that's definitely good. Okay, and so then the last thing I just want to kind of wrap up on, because I know we've been talking a little bit and I know you got other things to do. Language advice. All right, so this is what a lot of people I think could really benefit from. So what is your advice for people who are studying a language but they get stuck? Because once again, I have a lot of subscribers. They get into learning the language and then they feel like they hit a wall or they feel like they can't progress. So, what do you think is the best advice for getting around that?
For getting stuck. So like usually they're not a beginner, but they're not advanced, right? Um, well, definitely you have to practice. I know it sounds like repetitive, but you do have to practice. Find someone to practice with. So a way to get unstuck is find new vocabulary as well.
Mhm.
And so here's something I did do. I had to think about it. I remember going through that whole phase where I was stuck. I'm like, okay, I feel like I know a lot of Spanish, but it's still so much I don't know. I will turn on Univision or Telemundo and
Mhm.
I will watch like the news anchors talk in just straight Spanish. And then I would learn really quick, like, okay, here's a lot of stuff I don't know. Or you could just watch regular news and try to translate out loud, try to interpret out loud.
Mhm.
So, like, for example, if the news anchor is sitting there saying, today is going to be very hot. The weather is going to be blah, blah, blah. You're going to try to say it out loud in Spanish, like try to say everything that they're saying. And so when you come across stuff that you don't know, you can kind of just take notes like, oh man, I don't know how to say degrees. I don't know how to say hot, you know.
Mhm.
So that's a way to get unstuck too. It's a very unique way to kind of learn, but
I
definitely
think
help.
one of the things that helped me when I call it the language plateau, but one of the things that helped me was like I just started learning stuff that I didn't know or thing because this is something else that I notice a lot of people do. They rehearse or recycle the things that they already know, and I feel like in order to progress, you have to like challenge yourself. And if you're using the same vocabulary, that's why Spanish in high school was so easy for me because we learn the same verbs, the same adjectives, and correr and caminar, like just the same simple ones. And then when you get out into the real world, that's when you're like, whoa, because I know for me, like I know for me, I was really good at Spanish in my high school. I got awards and everything, and then I got over to Mexico thinking that I was about to be a star over there, speaking to the natives, and then I get over to Mexico and blah 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 blah. I'm just like, whoa, like that is not. And then the Spanish was different too. It's not even how I learned it in school. So that's why I think going abroad is a really really good example to learn the language very fast if you do have the opportunity. But for the people who aren't able to travel, and they have to learn the language from home, what do you think is good advice for that? Because not everybody can just like me and you come out the country. But I think you knew Spanish before you moved out the
Mhm.
country. But for me, I kind of got the second backhand half of it once I was living in the Dominican Republic. So, what is your advice for people who can't leave and they
Yes.
want to learn?
Okay. That's a great question, actually. And you're right. I learned Spanish. You know, I have never been to Brazil, not yet.
Wow.
And so I speak Portuguese, and I've never even been to a Portuguese speaking country. So, and also, I was already speaking fluent Spanish before I even traveled outside of the country. So, most definitely, it's possible. So, I do want to tell you guys that if you are someone who can't necessarily travel, practice at home for one. I've been saying that, but it's very important. I'm so sorry. So, it's very important apart from practicing and books and all of that, you want to get you some friends, some native friends that don't speak English. You definitely want to, apart from practicing, at home, watching movies at home, etc., it's very important for you to find native friends, native speakers to practice with. So that's something that I did do. I made friends with people that couldn't speak English. So that's very important. So I don't know, have you introduced your followers about Hello Talk at all?
Yes, so that is actually how I became friends with a lot of people that spoke Spanish. And that's actually how I met my first friends in the DR through Hello Talk. But yes, that's a really good language exchange app because I mean you can find people from around the world, like literally any country. You can they have speakers in that language that you're trying to learn. So yeah, definitely Hello Talk. That's a good resource. I do agree with being able, because that takes discipline. I don't think people understand that this doesn't just happen overnight. Like you really do have to put in the work. And I don't say make it a routine. I just say make it a lifestyle almost. Like you just have to like really. I think it was one video you said if you can watch Love and Hip Hop for like 30 minutes or an hour, then you definitely, because some people like, oh, I can't remember, and it's like, man, but you can remember Future and all these rappers. So it's like,
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
that is true. Like your brain is so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, people can memorize these rap songs so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like my little sister, she was just staying with me, and I mean, she can hear a song one time on the radio, and by the next time it come on, she's like, "Yeah, I got broads in Atlanta, or whatever." I don't know, like she'll know the whole song, and I'm just like, "Girl, and you struggling with Spanish? All it is
Yeah, for sure, definitely. But yeah, and I guess just to wrap this up, is any tools, or do you feel like what are like the best tools for anybody who's trying to learn a new language? What would you recommend for anybody out there?
Definitely Pimsleur. Pimsleur is my A1. I love Pimsleur. So that actually helped me with Portuguese too. I forgot to mention that. Pimsleur is really good. italki, definitely get some tutors that'll help you out. And I mean, that's it really. Hello Talk is a great exchange app, like you said. So you can meet a lot of friends on there. I have students that have met their spouses on Hello Talk, okay? Like
Wow.
seriously. So yeah, definitely get a language exchange app, get a tutor on italki. Try to download the Pimsleur if you can. And yeah, y'all,
You
and just
forgot one.
practice every day.
You forgot one.
Huh?
I said you forgot the most important one. The
What?
Ambie study guide.
Oh, ambiemethod.com. Yeah, definitely visit my
That
website.
is, I'm telling you, is useful. And is he smiling at the camera?
He is smiling at you because he
Okay.
talking to you.
But yeah, definitely the Ambie method. I really do think that it will help you with your language journey. And um, yeah, I'm happy that you were able to come out and do this interview. I know it's kind of hectic with what you got going on right now, but we got it. So that's amazing. We definitely got a plan to go to Puerto Rico one day, hopefully after all this pandemic stuff. But I do appreciate your time. And is there anything that you want to say to my subscribers, or just any last words?
Um, that's it, guys. I mean, just definitely keep going. Don't get discouraged. I know a lot of you guys say you don't find the motivation, or it's easy to start something and don't finish it. But like J. Rod said, if you keep your why in the front, keep remembering your why are you doing this, then you can definitely learn the language. Anybody can learn the language,
Anybody,
seriously.
anyone. All right, thank you so much. I'm gonna leave her contact information down below. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. All right, guys. Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.